Hello, I'm Emma Howard and we're talking about breastfeeding here on the Baby Channel, and with me is Heather Welford from the NCT. You're a breastfeeding counsellor. And next to you we have Kate with the lovely Penny. Penny's nearly 10 months old, isn't she?
That's right, yeah.
And you've had a good time breastfeeding.
Yeah, brilliant.
But one of the things that women worry about in the beginning is how well they'll be able to feed their baby, especially if they see themselves as flat-chested. Now, you were one of those women, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. AA size, always having to go to the children's section to find bras.
And did you think, oh, this means I won't be able to feed the baby, or did you know that it made no difference at all?
I very much hoped there'd be no problem, and I was quite looking forward to having a slightly bigger breasts for a while anyway. But,
so did you like being pregnant from that point of view?
Yeah, it was nice actually, yeah.
And here you are, you know, Penny's nearly 10 months, thriving completely on breast milk, and here she's going to have a snack. And oh, is that a squeal of delight, Penny?
Well, I think it's a demand actually. Give it to me now.
And Heather, this is absolutely typical, isn't it? It doesn't matter about the size of your chest at all. You can feed your baby if you've made the decision to do that.
That's right. Size really doesn't matter, and the confidence that women sometimes lack because of how they feel, how they look, can sometimes affect you negatively. You think, oh, how can I breastfeed with
yes, these boobs weren't meant for feeding.
These little things. But most of the shape of our breasts when we're not pregnant or breastfeeding is fat, and you don't actually need that fat. You need breast milk making and storing tissue, and every woman develops that in pregnancy, and she will have enough to feed her baby. You know, that's if the baby feeds effectively and feeds frequently and is removing milk, that's what drives the supply.
So it's got absolutely nothing.
You know, you can be big or you can be small or you can be medium, and you will make enough milk for the baby.
And you've carried on a long time, and you're going to continue feeding your child, aren't you, for a while yet?
That's right, yeah, at least until she's 1 year old and can start on cow's milk. I can't see her wanting to give up that easily either.
No, I can't see it either. She's very happy indeed. In fact, you're at the stage now where she's snacking, because she's teething, isn't she, and she's on solid, so you have more feeds but smaller feeds throughout the day.
Yes, yeah. My milk supply is cut down dramatically. My breasts are almost back to what they used to be. I was hoping to be able to carry on expressing, but unfortunately I just can't express anymore because there's so little in there. It's only her who can get the milk out.
And again, is that from the demand that the baby's made on
That's
the
right.
boobs?
Well-established breastfeeding is it gets to be a tailor-made supply for that particular baby. Now, if Kate wanted to increase her supply for any reason, I mean, sometimes if babies feel a bit off colour, they go off their solids and they start to need more breast milk. It probably over a couple of days, Kate would find that her supply would increase to meet the extra demands that Penny is making on her.
That's amazing that nature can do that.
I know, it's a wonderfully flexible, robust system.
What about using a breast pump to help with that? What's the NCT's view of that?
Well, she could use a breast pump.
Because that would make an extra demand on the breast,
wouldn't it? A lot of people do have Kate's experience, though, and they don't perform very well with the breast pump. But the baby manages beautifully, and it's as if nature isn't going to cooperate with the artificial
yes.
artificial.
I want the real thing or nothing at all. Yeah.
Although we do get calls from women who really do need to express for one reason, and we'll help them with advice about technique, perhaps a different sort of pump to use, or even hand expressing, because that can sometimes be pretty effective.
And is hand expressing something that's best done in the bath or the shower, or can it be done
Well, if you're
anywhere?
going to collect it to give to your baby, you wouldn't want it in
the
bath.
shower, for sure.
See it go down the plug hole. Hand expressing is a useful technique to learn. And it certainly avoids you having to sterilise all the bits and pieces of a pump.
And what is the hand technique? I mean, basically, if you can show us on
on my clothed body.
On your clothed body.
Well, if you normally start off by massaging towards the end of the breast, towards the nipple, and different things work for different people. But the sort of technique taught in hospitals is very simple. You position your finger and your fingers and your thumb like that, a little bit behind the nipple, because you're not squeezing the nipple, you're actually
holding it firmly and supporting
you're compressing the breast really, and finding the best place to squeeze around
and
there.
Then pressing down with your hand.
That can sometimes help a lot. You sort of encouraging the flow of milk to the exit points.
And as with everything with breastfeeding and anything to do with this stage of your life, some people will be able to do it more easily than others, won't they? Right. I know that I couldn't master that at all by hand, and my baby was the most effective thing. at getting milk and,
Yes.
and feeding. But I know that some women can do it very easily indeed. But I just think there are so many ways that you think you failed in it because you can't do that. But some things are more difficult for us. And look at you, you are thriving on it, aren't you? Yes. And she just did have a snack there, as you said. Oh, she just wants another one now. And why has it been a great thing for you to do, Kate? Why breastfeed?
So the communication while you're breastfeeding is amazing, and as they get older it changes as well, because when they're really young obviously they just lie there and stare up at you, which is lovely, but then her hands start wandering and she strokes you, and at the moment she's got to the stage of pinching, which I have to make sure I cut her nails, otherwise it can get a bit painful.
And how did you get past the stage of biting as well? Because we've been talking to mothers and babies who've had a problem with that. Did you manage that transition okay?
Yeah, I was lucky in that she started biting before the teeth came through, so she was just biting with her gums, so it wasn't too bad, and I just said no and pulled her in close and made it clear that I didn't approve. She did it once where I thought she was doing it deliberately because I hadn't given her much attention the day, and I'd come back from a shopping trip and I hadn't immediately rushed and said, "Hello, Penny." And
They're not stupid, are they?
No, and she bit me deliberately, and I think the shock on my face stopped her for once and for all. So I've been very lucky on that point, yeah.
And what's your advice, Heather, then, to women in that situation? You would say pull them closer or take them off and stay
That's a useful technique, pull them closer, or insert your finger to break the suction, and this thing that Kate's reminding us to say no quite firmly, it really does seem to work. And it's a temporary thing. Most babies don't bite, to be honest. The few that do will do it over a short period of time because they don't use their teeth to extract the milk. So the teeth are not an important part of it.
And some babies don't have teeth until quite late on, do they?
That's right. It wouldn't be something that people ought to think that is automatically going to happen to them and should prevent them from breastfeeding anyway.
And here we are looking at a baby who's reaching 10 months and been breastfeeding for a long time and is very happy. In fact, you're a great team together, quite clearly. But what about those early days? Nearly every woman goes through a very frustrating period, don't they? It doesn't come automatically, and everybody thinks it should because it's supposed to be natural.
Well, this was one of the reasons Kate gave us for choosing to breastfeed, because it is a natural thing. But just because something is natural, it's what nature intended, it doesn't mean that everybody can do it straight away. It's a learning experience for the baby and for the mother, and mothers need a lot of support in those early days because there's circumstances surrounding the birth, or lack of confidence, or tiredness, or in Kate's case having a caesarean, which meant that she had to take care over where the baby was actually positioned. And those things need a lot of help.
And on that point, I mean, you breastfed lying down, didn't you? Because you had a scar, and so
right.
it would have been uncomfortable to have breastfed in that position.
You can't move for the first 2 days from the bed. You just have to stay exactly where you are. So yeah, you have to breastfeed lying down. And it's very, very useful to be able to do that because even now, when she needs an afternoon nap, I know that she's probably not going to go down by herself. She's a bit too excited about what's going on. If I go and lie down with her and breastfeed her lying down, she'll go to sleep. And I can creep away after a while or just sleep with her.
So that's quite a nice association for her.
Yes, it's great fun. She giggles and laughs as soon as I put her on the bed because she knows
what's coming, which gives her confidence.
Yes.
And also gives you the confidence that you know how to handle her if you need to take her away from something that's overstimulating her.
Yeah. But as for starting off with the breastfeeding, it's actually the first 3 months where you need the extra support because even once you've got it going, there are times when the growth spurts come. It can be very worrying. If I was expecting a day maybe because right at the beginning it took a whole night to get going. So I was sort of prepared for that, but it was 2 days at one point that it took for my milk supply to catch up, and I did find that very worrying.
And in that period, Penny was on and off the breast a lot more frequently than you'd been used to.
And complaining that there wasn't enough.
All that is perfectly normal. Mothers do worry. Oh heck, my milk's disappearing. I haven't got enough. But if you keep on putting the baby to the breast,
it encourages the supply.
That's what drives the supply.
Heather, thank you very much indeed. Very useful advice. And thank you too, Kate, for bringing Penny in to see us. It's nice to see you doing so well, the both of you.